So what about groundwork and lunging? And how much should you do? Should you do any groundwork with your gaited horse? We're going to talk about that right here. Well, how's it going, gaited horse riders? Hope you're enjoying this lovely winter weather we're having. So I got an email from Michelle. She had recently gotten a new gaited horse and had some questions. The very root of which are two things. One, how do I go about bonding or connecting with my horse, especially my new horse? Though this can definitely apply if you have a horse that you've had for years and haven't really connected with. And the other part of the question is really a big issue. So I bought this horse and he came supposedly trained, but he doesn't seem to know anything. And that's really common with gaited horses. No matter where you buy them from, although again, you can find some amazingly well-trained gaited horses, many of them have skipped the basics of their training. So she specifically mentioned in her video, she said, so the owner said, you could get on him and just go. But when Michelle got on her horse, she found that he didn't bend, not in a rope halter, not in a bit. And she was asking, what kind of groundwork do I do? Not only to connect with my horse, but to get him ready for riding. And so some of the things she asked is, how do you know how they'll do under saddle if they won't do it well on the ground? The horse is supposed to be trained but doesn't seem to know the basics. What place does groundwork have in getting a horse warmed up before you ride them? And if the horse is nervous on the ground, how will they do in the saddle? Should you get on? I'm going to try to answer a bunch of these questions. It might be a little bit longer video, but I'm just going to try to go through some of the things that I believe. When I get a horse for training, most of the time, the horses are already being trail ridden. Although some of them are young and a little bit green, but they're rideable. So I'm usually dealing with horses that may or may not have much groundwork done and may not have much advanced work done. If a horse has, let's say terrible ground manners, walks in front of me while I'm leading them from the pasture to the barn where I'm going to stable them, things like that, then I will take the time, not in a specific groundwork session, but I'll take the time to train the horse while I'm going from point A to point B, in which case is from where I usually keep horses that come for training and the shed where I keep my training equipment is usually a couple hundred feet. And you might go, well, that's easy, just get there and then you can tack them up and ride. But I mean, I'll take the time to train the horse. And there's some really simple groundwork things to get a horse to lead better. If the horse doesn't want to stand still while being tied, I'll use things like food if he stands still, and I'll praise him and I'll take my time. And all of that is not specific groundwork exercises, but it's just training whatever the horse needs it as he needs it or she needs it. So once the horse is past that and I can go from the pasture to the barn with them walking nicely, not trying to eat grass, then I saddle them up, I walk them down to where I ride, I retighten the cinch, and then I just get on. Now, if I were to get the horse down there and they were acting, let's just say they're acting kind of really nervous and stupid, which was very rare because most of the time I'm very calm. So the horses learn to just be calm. And then I would get on and then I would proceed to do training from the saddle. Again, these are not unbroken horses. These are trained horses. And I would just begin training them to give to the bit, training them to do vertical flexion, to do lateral flexion, to stop and back, to back up. All of those things I would usually train from the ground once the horse is under saddle. If the horse is not started under saddle or you feel like this horse needs to be retrained, by all means begin teaching these things on the ground. Train your horse to stop with gentle pressure. Train him to back up with light pressure. Again, no swinging that lead rope around. There's no reason to hit your horse unless he's trying to take you out. Be very gentle. You can train these things. There's no reason to get into the middle of leading from one place to another and get mad at your horse because he doesn't know what you want. Spend the time, train the horse, no matter what it is. Leading, riding, anything. Ground manners, all of that works. So if I have a horse that's really nervous, before I get on or if it doesn't want to stand still, sometimes I'll get on anyway because I'm a professional rider, but most of the times I'll do very simple exercises to get the horse's attention. And I wish I had a video of some of that to show you. I might have a video, and if I do, I will post it here, of things that you can do, very simple exercises to get the horse's attention, without beating them up and waving sticks around. And then I'll just go ahead and get on and begin the training, and immediately starting on head down to get the relaxation and to get their focus. You can watch this other training video. You'll find a link in the description below, where I work with the gray mare, white mare, and work on some relaxation in the saddle over 2 days with huge change. That video is already up, and I would definitely do that with a nervous horse. But once they're calm, I don't repeat the exercises. So if the horse knows how to back up nicely on the ground, I won't do that before I get on every time. Again, if the horse is showing that he's nervous and needs a little bit of help, go for it. But if your horse is relaxed, don't start making them move their feet. Now let's move on to, well, what if you want to use groundwork to connect with your horse? Wonderful. You know what I recommend? I recommend liberty training. And liberty training can be as fancy as you want it to be, to as just laid back as you want it to be. It could just be walking next to each other, stop, back up, turn left, turn right, and do that for fun. And maybe go get some grass to eat. That can be very simple too. The horse trots with you, turns both directions, stops, backs up quickly, side passes to you, side passes away from you. The sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want. It can be as fun and as advanced as you need it to be. And again, is the horse nervous on the ground, should you get in the saddle? That's up to you. How good of a rider are you? How quickly will the horse calm down? But whatever you do, don't do groundwork to try to wear the horse out. It doesn't usually work, especially with gaited horses. Sometimes with quarter horses, that's a good idea, but basically you're just getting them in shape so that they can run away from you longer. So you want to train them to pay attention to you. I'm huge on praising horses for bringing their attention back to you. And remember, if the horse is doing something you don't want, he just doesn't know better most of the time. He just needs you to help train him. What kind of groundwork should you do with a new horse? Start slow. Don't start with lunging fast. Start with slow work. Does he walk with you? Does he turn? Does he stop with you? And do specific training on that. A lot of people have asked if I'll do a groundwork video, and I might, because those are some of the things I want to include, is the really basic slow stuff that doesn't involve swinging ropes around and whips, but involves trying to connect with your horse to get them to pay attention. And that should be on the ground, but it shouldn't be because you got them all sweaty. Again, just my personal opinion. You're welcome to train whatever method you want. I mean, that's okay. It's really okay for you not to believe what I'm talking about. Okay, moving on to another question. What about lunging the gaited horse? Lunging is fine. I do that when I'm starting young horses under saddle. I lunge to teach them to walk on, trot on, gait, canter, stop, back up. I'll do lunging and long lining for that. But what I don't do is I don't lunge to get the energy out. I don't lunge if they're ignoring me and hitting the end of the lunge line and jerking their head and tossing their head all over. That would be a better reason to let them out into a big pasture and run around on their own first to get the energy out, rather than just trying to lunge them at the end of the line. Lunging would be for specifically training. Train the horse. And if the horse's head is high, train your horse to drop their head down low. And don't use any tie downs, don't use draw reins, don't use any of that. I don't recommend it unless you're an expert level, and then it should only be used for a day or two. No more than 2 days. 2 days. The camera's not focusing. Never mind. Groundwork should be used to train the horse. If you're going to try to connect with the horse, if you have a new horse and you want to connect, getting him out and making him do work is a terrible way. If you had a new friend and he invited you, every time he invited you over, it was so you could work on his house. Now, unless you were big into house remodeling, that would be difficult. Like, I would have a hard time wanting to go there all the time and work with that friend because he just wants to put me to work. Now, again, if you like that kind of thing, that doesn't apply. But if you have a new horse and all you do is get him out and make him run around, do you think he's going to want to be with you more or less? Well, you get the idea. Anyway, if you have any questions, please comment below. I'm home now for a few weeks. I'm going to try to get some more training videos. Let me know what you want to see that I can do in the snow. So nothing that involves too much fast stuff. And hopefully I'll have a horse that I can try to demonstrate with. So again, thank you so much for watching. You can get out there and work even if there's snow. Be careful if there's ice like I have. And have fun. And again, just train your horse. Train your gaited horses. You got this.